Good morning, kings and queens. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. Welcome to I Am Felicia channel. And today I am going to do a story time. I was gonna wait till I got home and sat at my desk, but maybe I'll start it now and finish it later. Ode to Batman. I am Batman. That's one of my son's favorite sayings to me, my oldest son. His name is Ray J. He be like, I am Batman. Okay, be Batman. All right then. So I wanted to share some things about me. Because, you know, when you make YouTube videos, you're really trying to appeal to niche audiences. And you're really trying to just talk about what people are interested in talking about. But y'all see my view. Absolutely stunning. I love it every day. Every day. I just have to come out here and take a walk every day. Even if I don't want to walk. This right here is the reason why I come out here, this view. But today, my story time is about my migraines. And the reason why I chose to share my story about my lifetime of migraines is because there's a lot of people out here suffering silently, and they don't know what triggers their migraines. They don't know what causes their migraines. They don't know how to prevent their migraines. A little backstory behind me is, y'all can't, there I go. So y'all can't see me worth nothing. I started getting migraines when I was 7. So that's gonna be 1982. 1982, I got hit by a car on Mother's Day. My mom and I were walking to the neighborhood store in my grandmother's neighborhood in Chicago, Chatham area. And I don't know, I just remember saying I had to tie my shoe. And when we crossed the street, on the corner, I bent down and tied my shoe. Now everything else is a blur. I just know what I was told from my mom. She said there was a car barreling down toward us, and I don't know, it missed her apparently, but the car hit me while I was on the curb. I mean on the sidewalk tying my shoe. The car missed her, hit me, drugged me halfway up the block while I was under the car, and the car ran into a tree. So my mom said, from her recollection, some teenage boys jumped out of the car and ran. I do remember laying on a lady's porch. I don't remember how much pain I was in or anything like that. I just remember waking up and I was laying on her porch, and the ambulance was on the way. And next thing I remember from being so little, in 1982-ish, 2019, I remember being in the hospital and them examining me, and they were like checking all the bones in my body. And I just remember that the room was like dark gray, the lights were very dim. The doctors and the nurses were so big of me. I was a 7-year-old little girl and I was scared. I was like, this is creepy to me. I don't like this. They checked me for breaks and bruises and that type of stuff, broken bones. And they were happy to report to my mom that I didn't have any broken bones in my body. And from my recollection, they explained to her that it was because I was so young and my bones were still very flexible. And because my bones were so flexible, it caused me not to have any breaks. Yeah, I had like bruises and knots and stuff like that. But that day, they discovered I had a heart murmur, which my mom didn't know I had, and I didn't know I had. And so I remember a bunch of nurses and doctors and students all in the room listening to my heart. And they were like so fascinated. And so as it goes, it's like the heart beats, boom, 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 ba-boom. Mine say ba-boom, click, ba-boom, click, ba-boom, click. And that's because one of my valve passages is backwards. And that's where the heart murmur come from. So when a valve would close and open like this in a normal person, mine bumps because it can't. It's opposite. It goes backwards like this, so it makes a clicking sound. So they discovered I had a heart murmur that day. But it would be a while before the migraines started coming. And it was just like that came out of nowhere. And my mom didn't know what was going on. I would cry all day long. Like my head would hurt me so bad I didn't know what was happening. I was losing my vision. Like right now I know they're called auras, but back then as a 7, 8-year-old child growing up in the neighborhood where I grew up, nobody knew anything about no dang migraines. Especially not in a 7, 8-year-old child. So throughout my childhood I was riddled with horrible migraines to the point where I would miss very important functions because of it. Every time we went to a family picnic over the summer or a reunion or something like that, it seemed like every time I got really excited about, family time and being out with my cousins and stuff, I would always get a migraine. And so it happened so much that my cousins at the same age as I was thought I was faking and I just was trying to get attention. But, I would miss the whole entire picnic because my mom would lay me under the cover on the ground at a picnic where everybody's barbecuing and having fun and eating and enjoying themselves. And I would be under the cover trying to recover and sleep off this migraine and these silver flashy fluttery lights. Man, y'all have no idea. My childhood, I kind of feel like my childhood was robbed from me in a sense because it took me until I was a young adult, to realize that I started getting migraines when I did because I got hit by that car. There was no compensation for me from the accident because it was a stolen vehicle and a hit and run. There was no reprimanding. We went to court, I remember, as a kid. My mom would come take me out of school and we would have to go to court downtown Chicago, and I remember walking over a brown bridge with the water under it to the court building. And I don't understand because mostly like when stuff like that happens now, when you look at what's going on in different states and violence and stuff like that happen, there's like a victim's kind of say it's a reparation. Like the state that the crime happens in pays. I mean, I know several people that got murdered and people that got shot and people that got robbed and mugged and hurt in the city of Chicago, and they got paid from it. It's like a lump sum payment, I'm guessing. I don't think they get it every month, but I think it's like a large lump sum payment to help with mental distress, pain and suffering, that type of thing. So here I am, a 44-year-old woman, and guess what? I still deal with migraines. And it's so unfortunate. And it kind of makes me really sad because it's unfair. Like, I got hit by a car. I've been dealing with this over 30 plus years, and I've never been compensated for it. Never got any help for it. It's just me going through the motions of trying to figure out how to prevent my migraines from coming so that I can have a better quality of life, so that I'm not still suffering after 36 years. So I had to learn what my triggers were. And my sister went to nursing school, and now she's like a nurse practitioner. But when she was going through nursing school, she would start telling me, you got to keep a journal. So you got to know what you eat. And once you know what you eat, you'll know what triggers your migraines. And so that was when we discovered monosodium glutamate, which is called MSG. And that's when we came to an understanding that MSG was my main trigger for my migraines. And so I started to think about, as much as I could, all of the journals I wrote, and all of the times I had migraines. I had to remember, what did I eat? What did I drink? What was the weather like? Was I premenstrual? Was I PMSing? Like, these are all the things I started researching on the internet to kind of like learn, because there was no doctor there to tell me. There was never a doctor there to tell me how to deal with my migraines. All I had to do was learn and figure it out on my own, because there was nobody there to help me. There was nobody there to help me. I had to do it all by myself, beside my sister and my mom at a point in my life trying to help me figure out what my triggers were. So I know if you're new to learning anything about migraines, I know you're probably wondering, what are migraine triggers? I have my own little list of things that trigger my migraine, so I'm going to tell you. Barometrics, which is the change of the weather pressure. If it's an extreme change of weather pressure, that's a trigger for me. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, is a trigger for me. When you're in a grocery store and you see those bottles of seasoning salt that say no MSG, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, here's the kicker. Monosodium glutamate, which is MSG, has multiple names. From what I'm being told, the manufacturers have learned to slip MSG into products without consumers really possibly knowing what MSG is. So if you're allergic to MSG, you shouldn't eat anything with BHT or BHA in it. The monosodium glutamate, just plain glutamate. Oh my God, it's so much deeper than just glutamate. It's glutamate. Are something that you should never put in your body. Any type of glutamate is just not, it's not consumable. You shouldn't consume it. So that being one of my triggers. PMSing, like premenstrual, that is a definite trigger for some people. Extreme stress is a trigger. Lack of water. So if you're dehydrated, very dehydrated, your body needs to have water and consistent oxygen. As far as like what I'm saying, you have to learn how to properly, because your body needs to be oxygenated. I think it's called oxidated. You need to have X amount of oxygen in your body to flow with good H2O. You got to have H2O. You need to be not dehydrated. If your body is stressing, struggling, and not hydrated, and you're not breathing properly, and you're not getting enough oxygen into your system, you will trigger migraines. That is one of the main things I recently learned, that if I'm very dehydrated, I'm not drinking enough water, I have migraines for like 3, 4, 5 days. And believe me, I get cluster migraines, week-long migraines. I got to the point in my last couple of years of life that I know what triggers my migraines, so I avoid it like it's the Black Plague. Like, you cannot pay me $1 million to eat something with MSG in it. Meaning I cannot eat Chinese food. Because as a kid, that's where we made the correlation. I was eating Chinese food every Friday night with my family. And every Saturday to Sunday, I was sick. Whole weekend gone, I'm in the bed. Monday come, I'm back to school, start the week all over again. So that was my childhood trigger, was MSG from Chinese food. But now it's like I can't eat at no major restaurants unless I know exactly what they put in their food. Like, I can't have fast food. I don't eat like McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Hell. Yeah, I said Taco Hell. I don't eat none of those quick turnaround fast food places, because majority of them have MSG in their products. So I do a lot of cooking at home, a lot of feeding myself.